making sense. All right, so definitely you're gonna kick us off with this one.
So I I mean I agree with like what Dame doing as far as my personal thoughts on it. I'm not one to want to, join up with people and to win something like that. That's not my, personal thing. I mean, I'm not no NBA player. I do some small time basketball league stuff here in my community. But like he said something about it's about the journey. I enjoy, competing against the what is so quote unquote the better teams with the people I came in it with because I feel like it's easy for somebody to go, hey, I might as well join this team that got 12, 11 players and I could be the 12th guy and I know we're gonna win. But how you really feel about it, even if somebody's saying it, you know it in your heart, you know in yourself that I really didn't do nothing, and you know people talking about you. And so I think like people like Kevin Durant, um, I think people laid off this person, but LeBron James, and I'm a LeBron fan, but I mean that team he went and joined with ain't like it was a slouch. So as far as like the Dirk Nowitzki to see that, that's how I want to get it, like or Giannis to do it like that. I'm not saying there's nothing terribly wrong with KD and LeBron doing it because at the end of the day they did it, and now they got their rings. They can always say I got my ring. But me personally, I wouldn't do it that way. And so I'm trying to think because Dame came in the league in what 2009 or 10,
No, 2012 draft.
2012. Goodness
Yeah.
gracious. Oh well, I don't think he's right from what he's saying. I think the league had already been there. I think it was already based off playoff success and rings and stuff of that nature. That's why KG left and went to, I mean, he was traded, but everybody know how that went. I want to go there, basically. Um, LeBron went to wherever, so I think the league was already like that. But on the flip side, look what he said about like Russell Westbrook. He not a journeyman, but he only landing on teams because of his name. I don't think he might. Not saying he gonna be out the league next year, but it's gonna get to the point like, well, we don't need him. It's hard to watch him basically in basketball right now. It really is, and I don't think Dame could ever end up like that because skill wise they just so different. But he basically saying I don't want to be that person either. Where I keep bouncing from team to team, and so hey, I agree with Dame. I would stay on Portland, but I don't think he should stay there at Portland just like they did with like Cleveland did with LeBron. When you could visually see they not doing anything to help him. They talking about shutting him down for the rest of the year if they don't look like they're gonna do nothing. So that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Bruh.
All right, J-Mo.
Okay, so I agree that he mentioned that the league. He basically mentioned that the league is getting younger,
Mm-hmm.
and that guys are more entitled instead of, I guess, earning their place. And me personally, I think that relates to more of off the court reasons. Like if you're a bum, for most cases, you're not gonna see the floor, um, unless you're on a bad team. But I think the entitlement comes with the money and the endorsements. I guess like guys can get a few highlights and get an endorsement and start making money. Like or these and in these contracts, you got rotation players. You know what I'm saying, making close to $20 million a year. So like I think the entitlement comes with the money. Me personally, because some of these guys, I mean, what are they so entitled for? Averaging 7 points a game. He got to be talking about the money. But he made a great point about bonding, because you do hear a lot of that from older players that play in the leagues before us and the leagues we watched growing up. Like they had long relationships with their teammates because they stayed with one franchise for most of their career or their whole career. So I think he made a great point about bonding. A great point about older players being on teams when he came in. You know, going back to our last subject, I wonder how this would play out if Memphis had an older player, a 40-year-old. But that's a great point about vets being on the team. And I think that it can kind of be a little hypocritical to what he's saying because one instance he said guys only play for stats and not winning. But then at the same time, he wants his praise for getting stats and not winning.
Regular season.
So, I don't know if like he trying to say that people aim for stats and not winning, or people get stats and don't win and think they're gonna get praised. Like if that's what you're saying, bro, you're one of those guys. I also think before he mentioned that, he's cool with guys coming to Portland, but he's saying he's not going to sell his soul to leave Portland. So I think that can also be hypocritical.
Stop the cap.
I kind of agree too with the only value in rings thing, because as much as James Harden has done in this league, he gets killed. And I know it's because the way he loses in the playoffs and things like that, but I mean, he's one of the greatest players in NBA history to not win a championship. You can't name probably 5, maybe 3 players that didn't win a ring that were better than him. So that's just an example. I do think stacked teams and player empowerment play a role in the, only value in rings thing, because people are teaming up to win championships, not because they like guys or they cool with them or that's where they got drafted. Load management is another way that people are valuing rings, because they sit their players out, make sure they're healthy for the playoffs instead of putting out the best product every game for the customer. So it is some truth in that. One thing I don't agree with what he said, that guys are getting handed keys to the franchise. There's only been a few, and those guys deserve it. You didn't get handed the keys because you had Aldridge. I think if Aldridge wasn't there, you probably would have got handed the keys because you were clearly the second best player. But it's only been a few guys that, Ja Morant, they traded away Conley because Ja's coming in. Paolo, please, man.
He played 15 minutes a game.
They got rid of Dennis Smith Jr. for Luka. Trae Young, they handed him Atlanta as soon as he got in there. So it's only been a few, and all those guys deserve it, if you ask me. So I think at the end of the day, this can be a nice case of right message, wrong messenger, because he's saying a lot of true things, but it can sound like he's saying it toward, and he said like 3 times, I'm not trying to relate to my situation. But while you was talking, Dame, that was the first situation you thought of, yours. So, maybe if somebody else was talking about it, or I guess, I don't know, but I just think that it kind of feels like right message, wrong messenger.
All right. So now the whole in that part of the interview was about, like what you said, James. I agree with the culture. On the court, basically, some people like the veteran leadership. That's why I agree with Dame. It's kind of like a lot of teams. We just talk about Memphis. Memphis only got 1 veteran. Tyus Jones is literally one of the veterans, y'all. like for real. He's one of the older guys on their team. They got 1 veteran, which is Steven Adams. So a lot of teams lack veteran leadership to teach them the simple stuff, like how to prepare, how to act on the road, little stuff like that. And he talked about that. Now, I 100%, 1,000% disagree with Dame when he talks about the NBA has changed, focusing on rings versus basically the regular season. They don't value the regular season. I think we do. How did Westbrook get a triple? I got Westbrook MVP because he got a triple double in the regular season. All right. When Dame scored 70 points, did he not get praised? All right. Like, he did not get praised for that. Right. When Luka did his thing, did he not get praised? Like, we give praise to regular season, and like, you getting the ring has always been the thing. Like, think about this. Wilt Chamberlain had 4 straight MVPs, but guess what everybody kept saying after that? Is he gonna win? And guess what happened? He ended up winning. He beat Bill Russell in the playoffs, and he ended up winning the first championship. Oscar Robertson, same thing. Mr. Triple Double. People start calling him selfish. I know he went live. You got YouTube. People start calling him selfish. Can he win a ring? He finally teamed up with Kareem, and he won a ring. So teaming up didn't just happen today. It's been happening. All right? Elgin Baylor. If you look at his numbers, it's better than Larry Bird, better than all these guys. But yet you don't talk about him. You know why? Because he never won a ring. Charles Barkley, one of the best players in his era. Do he get talked? Karl Malone gets slept on. Karl Malone is one of the best players in NBA history. But does he get talked about on? Right? No. So, and two people I really want to focus on. Number one, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's winning MVP after MVP, scoring title after scoring title, and he ran to the bad boy pits, and they're like, oh, can he win a ring? And then once he won, what did the first thing Jordan do when he won a ring? He bust out crying. Because that's what everybody dreamed to do. When you come to when all of us, bro, when we playing basketball, we thinking about winning a championship. For real. Like, we all want to win a championship. If it's in the high school, elementary, I don't care what league you playing in, Watts League, whatever league you playing in, your goal is to win a championship. That's the first goal. So, and then the last person, LeBron James. LeBron James is a prime example of what Dame is talking about. LeBron James was not winning in Cleveland, and he left so he can win a ring. You have to win a ring. And we're not dismissing the regular season, but if you want to be mentioned with these guys, you got to win. That's all we're saying. And they got a whole commercial about winning, about not about going through his whole career and not winning a ring. Got a whole commercial about that. This and Karl Malone, this and this person. He said, I'm just trying to not be one of those guys that's, play a whole career and not win a ring. And Karl Malone was like, the burger's ready, right? Like that commercial. So I disagree 100% with Dame. And if you want to stay in Portland, he just got to accept that he's not going to win a ring. If he accept that, so be it. That's you. We still going to celebrate you. But if you want to get mentioned with Steph Curry, you got to go win some rings. Sorry. So that's my take on that. Javon?
So I think y'all all looking at it the wrong way. I really do. I think y'all looking at him saying like everybody care more about rings than just hooping. Or everybody caring about rings more than ever now, or something like that. I don't think that's what he's trying to say. I mean, of course, I think he's talking more about the purity of the game, the purity of basketball. A lot of people don't even watch the NBA no more because of how the game is played, or how guys don't even play in games no more. Guys sit out games at an all-time high now. It's ridiculous. Like, you haven't seen this many people start doing, like, it's crazy. Like, I'm scared to buy tickets to certain games because I don't know if my mind gonna be there. So I don't think he's speaking about winning because he don't care about if he win a ring or not. Apparently, like I don't think he really cares. I think he's truly talking because he spoke on the clip that you played. He said, "I play for the love of the game. I play for the competition. I play to see to see my guys win, to know the feeling of winning." How he spoke about how Jordan cried when he won. He want to feel that too. That's what he plays for as well. He spoke about that. So I agree with them 100% on this. The game lacks purity now. It's not the same. Guys are more concerned about their brands than going out there giving it their all every night. And that's what Dame is talking about. He's talking about guys being proper professional basketball players. These guys aren't that no more. He spoke on veteran C.J. Watson. Earl Watson was never playing. Shannon Fry never playing. But they taught him how to be a professional point guard, professional player. And that's what the league is lacking now. Like, we see what's happening in Memphis. Y'all just spoke on that. Hey, Dave, I don't want to hear you talking about Haslam on y'all team because all you talk about is when y'all need to ship them out. So I don't want to see that comment no more.
Stop the cap.
Don't be trying to praise Haslam now. We got Haslam in Miami. You want him MIA, though. Not MIA. You want him MIA. But I agree with Dame 100%, man. The NBA is not pure no more. I don't think too many guys are doing it for the love of the game no more. Like back in the day. When Jordan was playing, it was more guys doing that. Because he even spoke on having a life. JJ Redick asked him, like, how do you, like, take what people be saying? I have a life, a real life. I go home, play with my kids. I call my grandmother. I got a best friend. He do work from home, so he come over for weeks, and we got a real relationship, friendship, and we be chilling. So I think Dame is speaking on that aspect of how guys are more like, soon you come in the league, you sitting out games as a rookie, or like it's ridiculous. So I agree with Dame 100%. The game, there's not too many guys like Dame in the league right now.
Can I jump real quick? Dane was saying two things. I think what you touched on was the first half, which is the culture in the NBA, and he also talked about the culture outside of it, like us, like what we're saying about it. Like he talked like what you're talking about is the people that's in it. You feel me? Like the players, and he also mentioned people come to him like, "You ain't got a ring. When you gonna win?" That's us, you know, and that's what I'm talking about. Cause I agree with that part. So I just want to let that know. Like I honestly think that he's talking about also like people outside the NBA values you winning and they don't really care about the regular season no more.
You know why? It's not. It's because of social media. It's stats are seen more. It's you learn more about the NBA nowadays than you ever did. You don't even have to look for it. You just scrolling and you see a stat like, "Dang, I ain't know this." Oh, I ain't like. That's the reason. It's because of social media. It's everything is out there now. Like everything, literally, you can get to it like this. So it's in your face more than back in the day. So I feel like it's more of a social. That's because of social media. Why it's like people around are talking about it more, like about rings. Because back in the day, we loved the regular season. It wasn't no ring counting like it is now. I mean, we did ring count, but not like now. Guys like Charles Barkley and these and Karl Malone, people say like they ain't got no ring, but they still greats. Like
But
you
we
don't hear
don't talk
about
about them at all, Javon.
who don't talk about them.
Nobody.
Stop the
Joe, you
cap.
talking? Nah, people talk about them.
Charles Barkley talked about because he on TNT. No disrespect to
Yeah.
Charles Barkley.
Yeah, I don't. The mainstream media do not talk about guys that didn't win.
So we talking about mainstream media. That's what you talking about. Because you just said you talking about people that walk up to you and say that.
What's my
You ain't talking
like
about
the
mainstream.
outside NBA world? Like when people talk about the best players in the history, Karl Malone should be in the conversation, but he never won. Because he never won, we don't put him in the conversation. John Stockton gets forgotten, and he leads a daggone NBA in assists and steals. And he gets forgotten. Now imagine if he had 2 rings, he'd probably be considered the best point guard ever.
Yeah,
Yeah, rings definitely elevate your status. But I'm just saying, I just think it's more like people talk about it more because of social media.
I agree with that because everybody got a voice now.
Yeah, that's all that is.
But I
People
think the
people
narrative
think
is
they
still
know
the
it all.
same.
yeah.
The narrative is still the same.
I think the mainstream media don't talk about guys that haven't won, and all the mainstream media is the main stuff that people watch. So they take what they see on TV and carry that narrative over to their tweets and stuff like that. But so and so said this, and so said that. So I mean, every now and then you come across posts with people calling people out for saying something they don't agree with, but like for the most part, just like the Westbrook narrative is a clear example. Like man's is averaging a triple double, and you know his teams weren't that good, but they were still losing, even though he was putting up these stats. And the narrative took off, like because of the mainstream media. Like everybody didn't collectively come up with that. Like the mainstream media put that out there. So I do think the narrative is that way, but like he like to some people he can come off as like a crybaby. Like he once campaigned for making the All-Star team when he thought he was about to get snubbed again. He talked about snubs and stuff like that. I know we passionate and we want to like compete, but like to some people he could come off as like he's complaining because, bro, you have the opportunity to leave. Like I understand you're not trying to ring chase. No, like if you worried about what people are gonna think about you, people telling you to leave. So you don't have to worry about that part. Now, maybe if you worried about your own self, like how you think about you, you think you're gonna feel less of a winner or less of a man if you go team up with somebody else. It's not even about going to team up. It's about getting in a better situation. You know what I'm saying? Like he can, for instance, I'm not trying to say they'll win a championship or something like that, but if he go to like the Wizards, if you drop a superstar to the Wizards team right now, they'd be good. Damian Lillard would be the best player. He'll get the same amount of credit he would if he stayed in Portland. Like I knew I should have used a different team, but like
yeah, take them all.
It's so many options you have or you could have had all this time where you could have still had the same narrative. You
That's
just
a good point, though.
like you can leave. So if you're worried about what people are gonna think about you, then you could easily leave. But I agree with you saying Javon, 100% too. The game in its purity. It's so many times where I'm watching somebody get a screen set that's not even a screen, and they switch. Like, you know, they trying to get the switch. Like that's easily telling me that you ain't playing to win. Like, bruh, it's no reason why I'm letting you switch onto this guard when I know you can't guard him. I don't care what the play. I don't care what defensive set we running. I'm not switching this. There's little stuff like that lets you know, like, and then I seen some footage, man. I seen some footage of Jokic passing the ball 4 times straight, trying to get that 10th assist. I seen it. I seen it, man. I wish I should have pulled the footage. I seen it. My man had a pick and roll, dropped it off. They passed it back to him. Post move, easy layup. He passed it. They passed it back to him. He passed it again. I'm like, man, that's not purity. Like, it's little stuff like that in the game where it's just not. You don't see the same passion, I guess, or pureness that they talking about. So I agree with that 100%.
My one little point I think it go to what Joe was saying as far as like about the winning. If you didn't win, really, people don't talk about you. Like it go like Javon said about the culture of people coming up and basketball fans, even NBA players. For the fact, I know y'all remember this when Evan Fournier and J.R. Smith was talking about Tracy McGrady, and they were saying that he wouldn't stand a chance against Kevin Durant. A pure basketball fan would know that that's just a blasphemous statement, but it's the fact that Tracy McGrady didn't win while they were coming up, so they just feel like, oh, Kevin Durant won, and we watched him growing up. That was probably their guy coming up. I don't know, because they were young enough to. Tracy McGrady should have been probably one of their guys, but you know they saw KD and saw what he was doing, and they just treated Tracy McGrady like he was Evan Fournier, and I'm like, Evan Fournier, you would never make that statement if you really knew what this guy was. Like, you was in Orlando and you making this statement. So that just shows me that you even wasn't a real. I mean, you good as a basketball player. You won't make it to the NBA if not. But you're not a true fan, or you just saying anything crazy out your mouth. And so that just goes to people just not being pure basketball fans no more. Yeah. They just looking for stats and what this person can do.
Yeah, it do be a lot of bad takes out there on social media, man.
That's fact, though. All right, let's go to our next topic. So now thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.